Alright lads, so a new set of characters got resurrected, and in today's video we'll be trying them out and see, have they gotten better? So firstly, we're starting off with Isshin. This is a character that I haven't actually used in a very long time, but with this resurrection, what did he actually pick up? So firstly, as always, with most characters nowadays, you get to the 20% Berserker. So as an SP character, because that's what he is, he does get a tad bit better. He does do 20% more damage, which I guess is kind of a lot for these particular characters that never had Berserker to begin with. But what you'll notice is that his gameplay is a tad bit weird since it is just kind of just beam attacks, right? So his first strong attack is going to be like that melee collision beam. It's actually a really good strong attack one. You can see that it does do some consistent damage as long as I position it quite well. His SA2 however is definitely on the weirder side since it is also like a ranged collision beam, but it sends him forward too. So it's kind of like a lunge and a beam at the same time. So I go here and then use that SA2. We go forward and then it does the beam. So this is a character that for the most part, from my knowledge, and I don't have much knowledge about this particular banner, I will say from the get-go. Normally, I'll give like a little history lesson on these particular characters, but Isshin kind of came out and he was kind of forgettable because he came out with essentially no recharge, right? He's a last-ditch survival character. He came out with 100% last-ditch, and he was always meant to be a Link. He had certain stages, I think, where you wanted to use him in Senkamon, and that was basically about it. So this Isshin never really had a chance to shine or anything, and it's kind of a shame because Isshin as a character, you know, at least until this point in time, the one prior to his release that came out a few months or maybe a year, the same year, wasn't anything too special either. Same goes for this one. We really didn't get a good Isshin until the 1000 Year Blood War version. So this version of Isshin really didn't do him justice. Again, he was kind of just an average character at best that was kind of forgettable, and that was really about it. So for me, this Isshin was basically only ever a Senkamon character. His SA2 having a decent amount of pushback was the main usage for him at that point because it did provide, you know, a good distance to a certain extent. It would push back the enemies and it would keep you safe. And back, you know, when this character came out, when Transcendence wasn't a thing, you know, you weren't always just one-shotting enemies with strong attacks or soul bombs, for example. Now, this character is the third Isshin in the game. I actually thought he was the second for a time being. And I don't believe he was a character that was affected by 1000 Year Blood War Isshin. If you don't know what I do mean, when 1000 Year Blood War Isshin did come out, they changed the speed version, I believe. They changed his aura and also art to have more of an orange type of aura to kind of match with the fact that, you know, 1000 Year Blood War Isshin is in game. We now know what his Shikai is, and it is like a fire-based Zanpakuto. And this Isshin already had orange attacks, so it was already similar to, you know, 1000 Year Blood War Isshin, and therefore I don't think they ever changed anything about this character. But this Isshin, again, with his resurrection, did pick up 20% Berserker, which again does make him a tad bit better. And then for his soul trait, he actually picked up low stamina damage. So in a way, this character wants to be at low stamina. And I guess it makes him better because now he does like 40% more damage essentially when you are at low stamina, 44%. And I guess it makes him again a tad bit better since he does do more damage now, but it's not enough for this character. I think he needed more than that. I think he needed the built-in recharge. He maybe needed Havoc if he really wanted to be a good contender. But at the very least, he is now a good Link for the most part, since he is already a 100% last-ditch soul trait. You know, if you ever do die, you are then going to respawn at low stamina and therefore make good use of that secondary soul trait. But in case you're just mainly focusing on using him as a Link for the low stamina part of the soul trait, then at the very least, you now have that extra bit of protection, the 100% last ditch. So if you ever do die, since you are at low stamina, there is a potential chance you just get one shot. You're then going to revive and still be at low stamina. So I actually think this character's resurrection is, again, the bare minimum, very average, just 20% Berserker, but the soul trait he did pick up, I think really does make sense, and it's going to be very good for any future Heart Nad character if you're ever going with a low stamina build, which I will admit is kind of niche. Very rarely do you go with low stam, but it's still a good soul trait nonetheless. Moving on to our next character, we have a white Ichigo, who unfortunately got the short end of the stick when it came to this resurrection, and it's more unfortunate too because this character is actually pretty decent even nowadays. I mean, again, he obviously has problems with his strong attack damage, his strong attack range, but, you know, a good resurrection definitely could have fixed that because he has good strong attacks. His SA1 is a lunge forward, SA2 is a beam, and then his SA3 is almost a full screen, which is what's really unfortunate about this particular character because what he picked up with his resurrection is 20% Berserker, which again is the bare minimum, but what I would have preferred if he got a better soul trait and maybe picked up Havoc because that's what this character needs. His SA1 and 2 with Havoc would have been great, and then his SA3 would have actually become a above full screen because right now it's only a 900 AoE around him, so it's less than a full screen, and that's very unfortunate. And then the most unfortunate thing about his resurrection, you know, forget the fact he didn't actually pick up Havoc, he didn't even get a good second soul trait because what he picked up was Lacerate duration minus 55%. And you know what? I do think we need links like that, because that link doesn't exist for the power attribute. Even if it's almost unusable, it might become useful sometime in the future, but I think I would have preferred if another character got it. And the reason why laceration duration is a problem for the most part is because it's not that usable right now. Maybe it'll become more useful in the future, but unfortunately, right now, it's not that useful. Because the main reason why you would want to be immune to a status augment is to avoid stuff on the floor. Like right now, we have poison pools. The only time I ever use status augment duration links, and I do think they are useful, is in guild quest and again IT, just to avoid the pools on the floor. But in this case, lacerate doesn't ever get put onto the floor, so it's not like that needed. Maybe in Senkamon, and that's about it. Now there are enemies in the human IT, for example, where they can inflict lacerate, but again, it's so not useful right now, essentially. And there's no guarantee that link will ever be useful in the future. And for a character that is, you know, kind of a fan favorite, a lot of people really do like this particular character. I think he's actually semi-decent, and a good resurrection, for example, 16% strong attack damage as a soul trait, would have been a big, very powerful link for the power attribute, and then maybe giving him Havoc would have actually made him usable. Especially for those that maybe went ahead and transcended this character, there's actually a lot of fun to be had here, had he again gotten those 2 small upgrades. But unfortunately, for his resurrection, he only picked up 20% Berserker, which again is good, but just the bare minimum, and then his link is basically useless. It's just lacerate duration. But again, like I said, that link doesn't exist for the power attribute, so I don't mind it all too much, but I think I would have preferred if another character that isn't as cool as this character, maybe if they got it instead and this character got the better resurrection, I would have been more happy with that. Because as of right now, this is basically the only good canon white Ichigo for at least a potential long time. Obviously, there will be a time in the future where we do get a good white Ichigo, and hopefully that day can come soon, because right now, this is all the white Ichigo fans got. In terms of canon characters, at least. Of course, we do have the Spirit Society White Ichigo, which is great and all, and it does definitely satisfy the White Ichigo fans, but I think a good canon White Ichigo is definitely needed sometime soon. And moving on to our final character, we have TENSA ZANGETSU. Again, strong attack-wise, isn't too bad. He has a lot of pushback, to be fair, a lot of range collision, but, you know, back in the day, at least something like Senkamon, this character, again, has been quite useful just for the pushback attacks and also the lacerate. He does fare well against certain Senkamon floors in, you know, old towers where this character was still somewhat relevant. Now, I'm gonna be truthfully honest, I hate this character. This character is such a pain, at least on my summons, and if you've seen my past videos, mainly the countdown to the 5th anniversary summons, where we got this character so many times, it started to affect how I feel about this particular character in the actual Bleach series. And that happens quite a bit. Jushiro, I was actually kind of a fan of for a while because I pulled the speed Jushiro. And in this case, I absolutely despise this particular character that I'm starting to kind of dislike TENSA ZANGETSU in general. Now, as far as this character does go, again, kind of just simple character. He has a lot of pushback attacks. I kind of prefer White Ichigo's gameplay. And it's kind of unfortunate that White Ichigo again got the short end of the stick where, you know, he was the better of the 3 and he got the worst resurrection. Whereas this particular character is just semi-decent, but he actually got the best resurrection, and he actually has a very good link now. So again, similar to Isshin, similar to White Ichigo, similar to a lot of characters at this age that is going to get resurrected, they're only going to pick up Berserker. Had this character picked up Havoc, again, he would have been better, but it wouldn't have made that much of a difference. But at the very least, what this character did pick up in his resurrection is 16% damage at full stamina. So we're playing with him, you actually want to be at full stamina, but at the same time as a link, he's now a 14% recharge soul trait, so he's already a very good link to begin with, and he's also given 16% full stamina damage, which that right there makes this character one of the best, if not the best mind link in the entire game. Second best, because Chad's actually a better link, but he's still very, very good as a soul trait right now. So when it comes to becoming a better character with Resurrection, sure, you know, he has a 36% damage increase now, 20% from the Berserker, and then technically 16% more damage when at full stamina, you know, which again does make him better, but I don't think many people actually play with the particular character. People more so care about becoming good links, and he became a very good one. Like I mentioned, it was already a very good link to begin with, since he is a 14% recharge, so it is nice to see him get the really good secondary soul trait that is 16% damage at full stamina. That's what you want to see. You know, 14% recharge soul traits are so rare, like, you know, so few in between when it comes to resurrections. You'd rather see them get the special soul trait. You know, I like it when a random character with 12% recharge gets 16% full stam or 16% strong attack damage. That is nice. It's a very good link. But I think when it comes to the 14% recharge links, that's when I think Caleb should make sure that without a doubt they get good soul traits. and unfortunately that hasn't always been the case. The power TL8 Ruki, I believe, was a 14% recharge, and then she ended up getting Freestration, which again I like, but I'd rather a 12% recharge get that and give the 14% recharge soul traits, the already good soul traits, the better one, if that kind of makes sense, like they did with this particular TENSA ZANGETSU. Soul Bomb aged quite well too. I actually remember when these characters came out, and I actually really like the visual of their Soul Bomb, mainly White Ichigo and TENSA, since it does show that they are in the, the inner world for the most part. So overall, these three characters are quite cool. When it comes to the resurrections, though, they didn't really get the best upgrade. Again, they got the bare minimum, just the 20% Berserker, and Caleb called it a day, unfortunately. That's just the way resurrections are set up now. Hopefully, sometime in the future, that can change. In terms of the links, White Ichigo got a mediocre link upgrade, and it's yet to be seen how useful that actually will be. As of right now, it's not that useful. Isshin became a niche of a link because, the low stam and last ditch is good. It's a good link in my opinion, but very rarely do you ever go with a low stam build. But if you ever do and you're using a hot character, you're going to be happy to use Isshin as a link. And then TENSA ZANGETSU became one of the best links for any mind SP characters. So very, very good upgrade in my opinion when it comes to TENSA ZANGETSU. This banner in general was quite cool in my opinion when it first came out, especially considering that the next premium banner, the banner that came out a month after this, was actually Ichigo, Mugetsu, and Full Hollow. So having these three characters as a banner that came out right before 4th anniversary Full Hollow Mugetsu, I thought was kind of cool. But with that said, in the comments below, let me know what you guys think about these particular characters in terms of their resurrections, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.